Next up, we have a fireside chat with Hlubi and Sam. Hlubi, if you don't know her as an actress, you would have seen her as an athlete. You would have seen her as an educator. You have seen her in many spaces. She is a director of Future CEOs that creates educational initiatives and programs for those, especially for those in socioeconomic circumstances, exclude them from accessing business, educational, or professional development opportunities. She's also a director at Sunshine Cinema, which uses converts solar power into social impact. So they screen various movies and educational content around pretty much everywhere, using solar energy in those particular communities. Then she's also a director of Sisters Working in Film and Television, SWIFT. So for those of you in the film and television industry that need some guidance, especially females, Sisters Working in the Film and Television is an organization formed to address the crises of patriarchy and lack of equity and equality in the industry. So I am going to hand over to the most energetic person I've ever met in my life. We need to bottle that energy, and then I'm willing to pimp it out to the next consumer. I'm probably going to be the one that eats the stock the most. Next, Sam, I am going to hand over to you and Hlubi to start us off with a fireside chat.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marang. Hlubi!
I'm fixing my hair in my video because I want to look as bubbly as Marang introduced me. Mamela Marang. People say that if I would bottle my energy, I'd be a billion, dillion, gazillionaire.
I would be your pimp. I would be your pimp.
That's our next business, girl. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Great to have you around us.
Good morning, Sister Hlubi.
Thank you very much for joining us at the 67 CEOs Global Entrepreneurship Week 2020. It is an honor indeed. And I must say, I also want to appreciate you for the part you played during the Global Entrepreneurship Week 2018. You were one of the adjudicators and speed mentors during the Global Entrepreneurship Week 2018. Thank you so much. It is a great honor to have you amidst us. How are you doing?
I take it a day at a time. I have learned so much through COVID and lockdown. I, as Marang said, realize the power of collaboration and teamwork and co-creation and being a creative, everybody, that comes naturally to me. But I didn't realize that the words and the truth that I was speaking before COVID and lockdown about collaborating and working with people and having people on your side who have different skill sets to you has made me not only survive, but thrive since March, because I realized the power in numbers. And Marang put it so beautifully, is that as entrepreneurs, as startups, say to, oh, my baby, oh, I don't want to share my ideas. Oh, let me keep my troubles to myself. That will get you nowhere. One of the businesses that I am ambassador for is called Lionesses of Africa. And that is strictly for us all women entrepreneurs out there. And I love one of the themes today, everybody. It's called inclusion. So big ups to the women entrepreneurs today. I see there are 58 participants. I hope they're more than half of us women entrepreneurs. Big ups to the Black women entrepreneurs for really being the lowest rung of the ecosystem of entrepreneurs, but still we hunt together. We protect what we love, and we try to reclaim the entrepreneurial landscape, especially through these tough times. So Marang really put a great tone to, I think, what I'm really going to emphasize today. Sam, what I liked about you is about the pitching. You know me. Guys, everybody, I'm always asking people for money. I'm always asking people to sponsor me. I'm always asking for investors to believe in me. So you can never get enough experience of being in a pitch room, pitching, watching Shark Tank, watching all the pitching shows, being spaces where people are always trying to invest in you. And what I found with pitching with Sam, which I'll touch on a bit later,
Yes.
is that I find that a lot of entrepreneurs cannot articulate their businesses in less than 3 minutes. And
You're so
guys,
right.
let me tell you this. You never know in which dynamic space you are going to meet your next business partner, your next investor, your next VC. So have your business, and those 2 videos were spot on, of your articulation of your business within 3 minutes flat. That's my intro.
Wow. What an energetic intro. And as a matter of fact, you kind of like pack what we intend to talk about for the next 1 hour in 3 minutes thereabout. Maybe we can as well go now. Guys, can we end the meeting?
I'm done. Gotcha.
I'm joking. No, thank you very much. That was a very great introduction. Now, let's take it back a little bit, Hlubi. Share your experience as a young lady growing up, your career, where you came from. Yes, some know you as an award-winning actress. However, we would want to know more about the person, Hlubi. So please share your background for us, and also
good morning, everybody. Once again,
your career development.
Limpopo. Hello. So let me start on this premise. Never think that you are starting something from scratch. And I'm not saying about how old you are or where you are in your career. When you're starting something new, you will always have the imposter syndrome. But never believe, and we can talk about the imposter syndrome later, but never believe you are starting something from scratch. Every single job that you do, as menial as you think it is packing, is stacking, is found giving you a foundation to do the work that you are doing now. So your success journey, your journey is never linear. So why I say that? Everything began for me as unandi pasitole. On isidingo HIV positive, unandipas matebane. On isidingo, for those of you who remember. And I hope I was good. And I really hope I left that imprint on your heart, because as social entrepreneurs, that's our business. That's our business. And obviously making profit. So 10 years of being an isidingo, good things always come to an end. But I wasn't prepared for my life afterwards. I wasn't prepared that being a soapy star was going to be the be-all and the end-all of Hlubi Mboya. When that point of my career changed and pivoted, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I was stuck between, I don't know if I've got any experience besides being an actress and being a creative and being an artist to do anything else with that. And I felt like at the end of 10 years, I was thrown out of a moving car. But as I say, being an entrepreneur is all about that. I always say to people, Sam and Marang and all of you that are listening, being an entrepreneur, we're not born entrepreneurs, we're panel beaten into entrepreneurship. We learn every single day. And I don't know if we like it learning the hard way, but I think that's where most growth happens. So as an entrepreneur, it is so vital for us to always carry those scars, but to make it work at the best ability. And I find now during COVID, the entrepreneurs who are not even thriving and beyond surviving are the ones who just kept things simple from day one. And the ones who were talking their truth before COVID. So authenticity, and I'll come back to that, is everything for me as a business person, as a leader, and as an entrepreneur. So going back to after leaving Isidingo, what I found out and what is so important about being an entrepreneur is that because I was a public persona, Sam, I had one hell of a network. I had one hell of a fan base. And I thought to myself, let me use that. Let me use all the people who not even validated my work, who would open doors for me when I no longer was in their television spaces, but open doors for me beyond television. And that ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of future CEOs. As Marang so beautifully put it, I found that there was young people were falling through the gaps. And those were the young people who had done their matric, who had done their first degree, undergraduate degree, but still unemployed. And we're finding this obviously escalated now because of COVID. And I found that is exactly what I wanted to hone into. And this was, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, 7 years ago. So I started the business with that mindset, that I wanted to create a connectivity, an access point between not only CEOs, Sam, but thought leaders, innovators, creatives, and people who are really doing new, refreshing, incredible ideas, from JSE listed to township people who could connect with people who wanted to do something that was not the ordained path of leaving school, having your degree, and finding yourself in a job. That was not my path, and I've got to reflect that that is not only the path of success. That not all of us are UCT or WITS or Limpopo varsity graduates, and none of us will always be, and success is not dressed as that. Hence the difference between education and intelligence, which I'm always so passionate about. So Future CEOs began on that. And I started, thank goodness, on a digital platform. So this new digital boom because of COVID is not new to me. Over 6 to 7 years, everybody that's listening, I interviewed and I had the blessing of all those important people who've got better things to do with their time than come to Rivonia and be interviewed by Hlubi. But what comes back to my point is that never underestimate the work journey, the labor that you've done, whether it's washing cars, whether it's being at an NGO where you're filing papers, whether you're wiping babies' bums, all those things add up. I was a waitress. I washed cars. I sold amagwinya. That means I'm a very relational person. I know how I'm a people's person, but Sam, you know that. And I love working with people. And all those jobs in my teens, in my varsity careers, had made me into a very specific leadership style, which I practice today. And that's very relational. And that's why I'm so good at what I do. Back to Marang's point, if I can't do something, I find and I ask people, Jonga, this is what I'm trying to do. Let's do it together because you've got a skill set that I don't have. So Future CEO really did open up all the other businesses that Marang spoke about, because that was my network is my net worth aspect for a business to me. And that's why network marketing, these kind of platforms are so important, because you never know, the person you are sitting next to might be a lifelong journey and a lifelong business, spiritual guide for a successful legacy-leaving entrepreneur.
Wow. Thank you very much, Hlubi. You mentioned something that is very, very critical, and I'm going to use the word of Steve Jobs. He said, you don't connect the dots looking forward. You connect the dots looking backward. And what that means, to allude to what you said, is things add up. You know,
absolutely.
The network you made during your time at Isidingo, the network you made as you started Future CEOs, everything add up to where you are today. And the second point you made is the power of collaboration. It is said that collaboration is a new innovation. And yes.
But Sam, let me tell you something that I always say to myself. It's okay to not know everything. Humility in our industry as entrepreneurs, it's about having vision for the long game. And as entrepreneurs, we all have different strategies. Some people have an exit strategy. Some people want to do this for the long haul. Within every ecosystem is a different mindset. What I've always tapped myself in the back for is humility. My humility and saying, I screwed up, I did wrong, I failed. Can I ask for help? Please and thank you. That has taken me very far in this industry. very, very far. And that humility and saying, you know more than I do, was the Future CEO platform. You know what I mean? And because of, you know what? People attract what they are. I believe that. And if you have an attitude of gratitude and a good work ethic and are willing to learn, you will attract those kind of ecosystems to you. And if you are a co-creator, you will attract that to you. And in Lionesses of Africa, which is the women entrepreneurs, it's the African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Go together.
So from Future CEOs, it catapulted me into my other businesses, which are 4 other businesses. And I always say, thank you, God, for allowing me the humility to say, let me start from being an actress to start something new that I never knew anything about. And here I am.
Thank you very much. With every respect to actors and actresses for the statement that I want to make. Hlubi, you have remained relevant. And some of the things that, especially in the creative space in general, your musicians, your actors, people that are in creative, it looks like the career has a short lifespan. Do you agree with me before I ask you my question?
I agree with you.
Now, because the creative industry or space or career has a short lifespan, when people either exit or whatever happens, they find it difficult to move to the next level. And this is another point. Creativity is fluid by its nature because sometimes it's not, tangible. You can't touch it. And because of that, a lot of creatives lack the skills required to be able to convert their creativity to either business or money.
They say the World Economic Forum, especially at the World Economic Forum in Davos, which they held every year, they say that creativity is the one thing that's going to set people apart moving beyond 2020. And I completely believe that. And obviously critical thinking and obviously collaborations. We all know that here at 67 CEO. That's why we're all here. But let me tell you something. Creativity doesn't mean painting or drawing or acting or playing the guitar. Creativity is fluid, as you said. It's how you come up and unleash ideas. It's how you strategize. It's how you develop solutions. It's how you solve problems. That's why we're entrepreneurs. I always say to young people, you are a creative just because you're an entrepreneur. Do you understand that? That you are trying to solve problems that no one else can because their mindset is so blocked. And I believe most creatives are blocked into being musos and not business gurus.
Yes.
Tycoons. You know what I mean? Because they think, or they just want to sing. And I think that's where my power and my influence and my relevance lies. Is that I speak a lot of languages, and that in itself is creative. And everything, but Sam, people always ask me, everybody, Hlubi, you're doing so many things. Number one rule for me, it's okay to live a life that nobody understands, but Sam, that's what I've learned from lockdown. It's okay to live a life that nobody understands, as long as it makes understanding to me. And as long as I'm willing to learn new things every single day. And wisdom.
Sorry. And I just want to say something to that. And as long as it does not violate another person's rights or values. Please carry on.
Absolutely. It's okay to live a life that people don't understand. So everyone's also, and I call myself a serial social entrepreneur because I'm doing things that speak to each other. And the underpinning, if I had to say, Hlubi, what is your brand? Which we're going to touch up to. My brand is empowerment, it's opportunity, it's access, and it's wealth creation. And everything that I do speaks to that, and that speaks to one another. So anything that says Hlubi Mboya Arnold does this, it's either empowerment, opportunity, wealth creation, or access.
Wow. And talk about access and wealth. You are part of the, first of all, you are managing director of Mboya and Associates.
Beautiful.
That's one.
Yes.
You are also part of the Morebo company.
Yes.
Please take us through some of the things that these two businesses do and how they speak to your core value.
As a social entrepreneur, let's go back. An entrepreneur, as you said, Butsam, is somebody that tries to fix problems.
Yes.
It's about the customer. What are they scratching? What's the problem here? So that's what we do as entrepreneurs. Number two, as a social entrepreneur, I'm very community-based. It's not about me, it's about my next door neighbor. And it's about the person I work with. And it's about Mpumalanga. And it's about Limpopo. And then it's about South Africa. And then it's about Southern Africa. And then it's about Africa. So Umorebo, for me, let me tell you this, guys. Hey, 10 years of Isidinga, you all would have thought I would have spent money. I was young, guys. I blew 10 years of cash. So when it finished, it ended, I blew that money. And that made me realize, for me, what makes me in the long term, Butsam, is because I experienced the itch. It's not somebody saying, hey, Hlubi, how do I do about finance? I know what it means to be broke. I know what it means to not know where your next paycheck is coming from. So can you imagine, as a creative, that was happened 20 years ago. So what the creators were crying about during COVID, lockdown level 5 for 3 months, while we weren't working, while we were starving, people and everybody knew that we didn't save enough as a continent. We didn't. 3 months is not enough. The basic bare minimum, forget debt, forget wills, forget investments. We didn't save enough. So I learned by spending all my money and not saving, not even 200 Rand a month for 10 years, that I cannot put myself in that position again. So Umorebo was a perfect calling for me to be able to have financial literacy to the ordinary South Africans and not being something abstract. And the basics, I'm not talking about wealth management. I'm not talking about employee benefits. I'm not talking about estate planning. I'm talking about the simplest, safe, compound interest, debt alleviation. And what it means as an entrepreneur when it comes to our personal savings and our personal budgets versus the business. And how as entrepreneurs, it's this. We're spending our business money. It's the same card. We've all done that. So that speaks to me. But more importantly, as I said about access, Puti, and I said about empowerment, every time we deal with advisors, when it comes to our finances, it's white, male, old people. Every time you go to any financial advisor, and I was like, I've got a problem with that. They cannot speak our language. They don't know the money issues of a Black person. Forget a Black person, a professional. They don't know what Black tax is. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's so important, especially when Black people talk about their money and we want advisory from that. It has to be reflective. They have to speak our language. So I'm very passionate about the development of and the mentorship and the skills training of Black women financial advisors in this country. So that's Morebo, everyone, which is financial solutions, wealth creations, because we want intergenerational wealth. And why I say yes, we talk about investments as well all the time, definitely, Bahlopile. I'll leave you with all the my contact details of all the businesses at the end, everybody. It's intergenerational wealth transfer. And our philosophy for Morebo is live to leave a legacy. And that goes for Wena, leaving a legacy for your children, for the ones you love the most. And Tina, the people who are running Morebo, that we leave to leave a legacy, that we leave intergenerational wealth transfer, financial freedom, a wealth mindset as Black people. So that's Morebo. Now, Mboya and Associates, because I played an HIV positive character, I will always be an HIV positive or an HIV advocate. And that's very much, as Unandipa displayed to everybody, was basically trying to inspire people about living positively with HIV, but also eradicate stigma and access to healthcare. My brother, access to primary healthcare. So my dad and I, and it's really very much on a startup place, it's about access to healthcare to the people who need it the most, the people in rural parts of Africa. And that is also inclusive for me when I think forward of the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. We must not make the same mistakes as we did with ARVs, where it was for a privileged few. Only the affordable could afford the ARVs. We cannot make the same mistake with the COVID vaccine. So it's about access to primary healthcare, and that's where the mobile clinics come in. I want to go to the deepest, darkest corners of Africa and be able to educate people about primary healthcare, educate them, and also be able to sustain themselves. So that for me is a work in the process, a family business, because my father is very much, he's Prof. Hlubi Mboya. He says, Hlubi, I also want you to be Prof. Mboya. Ish, the pressure, the parents, guys. I'm like, oh. He wants to also be Prof. Mboya. You know, I'm like, so that's basically also the rule of thumb of access, Sam, of empowerment, of education and being inclusive, and also upliftment.
You touched on Africa. What's your love and view of Africa at large and the people of Africa?
Wow, what can I say about that? I think all the work I do has given me the privilege, also being an actress, has given me the privilege to see my continent, to love our culture, to see the potential of investment from Africans by Africans. I'm very Pan-African, my brother. Like, you know, me, Black Panther, I was like, I need to act in that. I need to be Lupita, you know.
The sequel.
But, you know, and that's why I believe that our decolonization of the education system is so important. A lot of the things that we went and what we do now and what we learned, whether tertiary or high school, does not include the African narrative. Forget the Black African woman narrative. And that's so important to me. And I'll always be a pusher, and I'll always be an advocate of African content by Africans for Africans. It's very important to me. And what I always say, and this is my brand online and personal brand online, you know, this tribalism will kill us. Xenophobia will destroy us. And that's exactly what the West wants. It's exactly what capitalistic governance wants. So they can sit at the bank, not hands crossed, laughing all the way to the bank because we brought demise on ourselves. So I'm always pushing the African agenda, especially in my businesses. And I love the fact that the World Trade Organization, the big fight is between our Asian and African counterparts. And isn't it so vital? Well, you know, and isn't it so vital, especially as entrepreneurs, we want African trade. We want to be able to do a business with our Kenyan brothers and sisters, with our Mozambican, with our Zimbabwean, with our Senegalese, with our Ethiopian, with our Egyptian brothers and sisters. Come on now. So that, for me, being a business tycoon and being a business mogul means I'm going to work and do business with fellow Africans.
And what you said makes the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement very relevant. And we're going to see how it's going to unfold and make impact in the development of the brand Africa and the people of Africa, and obviously the economy of Africa. Talk about brand. I've seen your partnership with the Jeep online. So take us through your brand, your online brand as Hlubi. I can see it, improving and gaining traction.
So let me tell you something about myself, everybody. It's not always about the money. And don't get me wrong, I love money. Who doesn't love money? I love money. But at what cost? At what cost? Let me leave it at that. That's a question I ask for you. So, I say that very openly because we all have different priorities. You know, some people have got 5 people to feed. Some people have got cars. Some people are paying bonds. You know, so whatever you accept with a monetary exchange, it's an individual and it's a personal decision. I understand that.
That's
but for me,
true.
You know what I mean, Sam? But for me, everybody that's listening, authenticity is everything. Authenticity is everything. And I find when I ring true to that, and I always have, the money comes. And it repeatedly comes. So when you say to Jeep, when I do work with Jeep, it's, and guys, this is also the Jeep, the vehicle and the apparel. And Jeep for me is very outdoorsy. It's very nature. It's very experience. It's very a grit, which is a test of character, a passion, a fire spirit. That's why I'm fireside in chats, you know. Those things are a reflection of who I am. And if I can speak that truth, my truth, in any way, form, and truth possible through so many things, then my work, I feel that I've reflected my truth, you know, in business and in and spaces where, and people are always, guys, people are always watching. Don't think that you didn't go viral, that people don't care. You might have that 2 likes, but let me tell you something. People are watching, and your influence means that they might not have liked, but they're acting on exactly what you tweeted about or what you Instagrammed about and what you LinkedIn about. So for me, don't be fooled by the numbers. Don't be fooled by popularity. It's about the purpose. So for me, my brand alignment, and it's about alignment. That's the perfect word, but Sam.
Yeah.
It's got to speak to my truth. I don't want to be able to do things that don't ring true to our hand, because you will get caught out. You know what I mean? And that means I enjoy the content that I'm producing. And people can see when you're enjoying your content. People can see that, you know, this is Hlubi. Look at that energy. You know, they can see, they can feel it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what makes virtual so important, is because we're not there face to face anymore. You know, they've got to be able to feel your passion.
Absolutely.
Via the context of your virtual. And that is so important. So that is to remain relevant. It's not about how many tweeting just because you're tweet. Tweet the content that's of value, guys.
And that emphasizes the need for entrepreneurs to be able to maintain their personal brand and their business brand online.
Yeah.
Now, very shortly, guys, we're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions, to ask Hlubi questions, either based on some of the things that she's shared, or maybe when you were growing up, you saw her on TV and, you know, there were things that you would want to get to know from her, or questions around business, questions relating to business. But before we do that, you've been on camera or in front of camera, Hlubi, like you said, probably over 10 years or more than 10 years, as it were. SMMEs in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, they are going to be pitching their business in front of their camera, phone camera specifically. What are some of the things that they need to put into considerations as they pitch their business model for 67?
Can I take, look, y'all, I come prepared, Jonga. Did my notes, highlights, Jonga. I'm serious about my job. I'm quality, guys. I'm quality.
Maybe Professor Mboya was right.
Guys, I've highlighted things for y'all. Different highlights and the creativity, different colors. So let's take it back a notch, Sam, if time allows. Are we okay? Number one, let's go back to the old school days of pitching when you had a panel, or the sharks, as I used to call you guys there at 67 at the Global Entrepreneurship Week. This morning, and I find that this carries on into when we're doing it in front of our own screens or own cameras or virtually. So you touched, and your video touched on a lot of important points. So let me go through it. I'm going to quickly buzz through them. They're 10 points. And then I'm going to take you through what to carry through when you're doing it on camera, guys. Let's start by when you're pitching. 10 beautiful points. Credibility, agreeability, I'll talk about that. Interactiveness, captivation, relevance, entertainment, confidence, powerful and inspirational. So let's deal with mythbusters. They say that we say in everyday life, opposites attract. What I really find a powerful tool when you're pitching is to be able to connect with your panel or your shark or your judges or your investors. You know who is going to be on your panel. You know the business that your panel is going to invest in you. Do your research. Find out what makes them tick and punch it, drop it. Blow them away by saying something because you've done your research. And what sharks love, what judges love is when they say, hey, I see myself in that picture, that entrepreneur. I see so much myself. Let me tell you something that is a powerful tool. So connect, do your research about the business. Beautiful. Number 2, credibility. And this is what you spoke about in one of your videos, but Sam. We can be as energetic and as charismatic as Hlubi Mboya Arnold. But if you don't know your numbers, you are screwed. So listen up. I am a creative. Finance has never been my strong point. But wherever I'm pitching, I bring the numbers girl. I bring the numbers guy into the room with me. Do you understand that? Because you will be blown out of the pitch competition if you don't know your numbers. So don't even start with a pitch if you don't know your numbers, all right? So that is number 2. That is credibility. Page 3. Okay, let's go to agreeableness, which means for me, be friendly, be warm, either when you're in the room or you're doing it on camera, guys. People want to invest in people who are friendly. These judges or these sharks or this panel or Exaro, they're not your enemies. So don't treat them like they are the bad guy. They're not. Go in there, show warmth. When you record yourself, your body language is everything. Your eyes are everything. Your smile is everything. We're all nervous. I know we're nervous. But make the butterflies in your tummy fly in one direction instead of... Okay. So warmth is so important. We want to be relatable. Next point, be interactive. So in the old world, I call the old world before we did all the virtual stuff, but I say the old world. So
because we are in the new normal. We are in the new normal.
So when I say the old world, ladies and gents, my fellow entrepreneurs, my heartbeat, interactive means if you've got your products in the old world, you bring your product, you bring your lip ice, you bring your wine, you bring your bangles, you bring your hats, and you let the judges experience your product because it must be multisensory for them to really know your product or your service. So it's a bit tougher now in doing it virtually. But in the banners, you saw Marang, she's got business processes. Show your products while you're shooting your video. I've got Marilyn Monroe. I'm old school Hollywood glam, y'all. But show your product. Put your wine there. Put your spa products. I saw one of the entrepreneurs as a spa. Put your lotions. If you are yoga, show a namaste pose. Interact, show your product visually as much as you can. Wear your bow tie, wear your hats so they can see and they can feel and they can experience you as an entrepreneur. Next up, captivation. And this goes in the old world or the new normal when it comes to pitching, guys. Storytelling is everything. And I'm not saying that because I'm an actress, and I'm not saying that because creativity becomes normal to me, but stories, especially when we're an entrepreneur, are everything. People are not buying what you're selling them. They're buying your story of how it started, why you're doing it, how difficult it was, the pain, the tears, the heartbreak. They want to go through that journey with you. And it's so important to bond with people when you're an entrepreneur about your story. But also remember, this is a pitch context. So you can't be A to Z. You've got to be A to Z within a certain amount of time. Tell your story about your product or your service. It's very important. But most importantly, can you see I'm turning the page? Most importantly, always tell your money story. You're pitching because you want to be invested in, y'all. You're pitching because you need their cash. You're pitching because you need their support structures of infrastructure, of mentorship. Whatever they're trying to give you, you're trying to get. All right? So tell your entrepreneurship story about the lack of money, the need for money, or what you're going to do when you get their money. Okay, that is so important. Relevance. And I love the fact that Sam and I touched on that. Make your pitch relevant. Like, why do we need this now? Why do we need this today? What is it going to do for us? we're not talking about something that's going to happen in 2021 or how's it's going to help us like tomorrow, and the future doesn't mean in 2021. We mean, let's just try and get through December with your product. Okay, so let's make it relevant. And yeah, that's my pitch sessions. All right. Wow. So basically, that should carry you through from when we go back into rooms and we're pitching in front of live humans, or we're doing it in front of camera. And as Sam said in the beginning, head and shoulders is nice, not too close to the mic. I don't want to see your nose hairs. Your lighting must be good. Marang has got beautiful lighting. I saw that Sam has got the Exaro banner behind him. It's so slick, guys. It means you're a professional. It's Thank you. Slick. I've got my movies. I'm a movie star. Hey, so I've got my movies behind me. You know what I love about virtual is that the fact that sometimes we can't control the elements. Some people have got network problems, ESCOM, load shedding, it might happen. So always be mindful of those experiences. All right. So have your phone ready. If you've got to move from your PC to your phone, try and keep the dogs and the cats and the husbands and the kids, for their 10 minutes of pitching at bay, and just try to get, your business idea across as articulately as you possibly can.
In as much as the pitching is reserved for entrepreneurs in Limpopo and Mpumalanga in this year, 2020 Global Entrepreneurship Week, entrepreneurs, their fellow entrepreneurs, what Hlubi just shared with us applies to every single small business owners, because it's not every time that you pitch or you sell to investors. You are equally always pitching to your customers, or pitching or selling to your customers. And the truth of the matter is, your customers are your best investors. Because if you look at it, Global Entrepreneurship Week happens once every year. And obviously, your business is not going to wait once every year to be invested in or to be funded, as it were. So what Hlubi shared with us applies to every single entrepreneur, irregardless of where you are based or which industry you are. Thank you so much. We are very grateful for all the points you've shared. Thank you for sharing your entrepreneurship journey with us. Thank you for your authenticity. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you.